Happy New Year, everybody. It's time for me to make my weekly video. And if everybody's wondering where all those music videos are that I made, they are at my BitChute and Odysee channel. Zach told me to stop uploading them to YouTube because they're hurting my YouTube algorithm. And I don't want to ruin Jesus's... Besides, Jesus didn't tell me to make a bunch of music videos. So the reason I was making those videos is because I felt like I was so excited. Well, I had seen... Well, I've been thinking a lot about these Gails that have showed up, right? That are now living on Church of Gail, and they all claim I'm going to be a goddess. And I just thought, I happened to notice that there was a song about the goddess Soul, who a lot of people believe used to be human and became a goddess. So I listened to it and I thought, wow, this is really great music. Who is the composer? Who's the singer? And I couldn't find it. And I found out it was AI creation. Apparently the YouTuber created the song. He wrote the lyrics himself, and he used an AI site. So I thought, I wonder if I could create some songs about my life based on lyrics. But then I thought, I'm a lousy poet. But then I remembered that Zach Knight wrote some poetry about my life that I thought was really good. So I thought, let's try feeding these lyrics into, and I ended up finding a music AI creator, Suno. And I was just going to see if it made anything good. And I was amazed. I said, wow, this music captures exactly the feelings that I would want it to evoke from the poem. Yeah, and so I was really excited by that, so I tried another poem. Zach Knight wrote about 8 or 9 poems, and I have now put all of them to music. Some of them I had to rewrite because I couldn't, half of them nailed it, but some of them I had to rewrite because I felt like he didn't quite capture my heart in the matter, and so I decided to rewrite it a bit. So I would say half of them, he's the total author of the lyrics, but the other half, the ones I'm working on right now, I am co-author with him. I went in there and changed some things. So yeah, I'm really happy with the music that I've created. Yeah, I've been kind of like in a flux since the Bible's been canceled. And I've been kind of reluctant to listen to Christian music because the Bible's been canceled. And so much of Christian music revolves around Bible prophecy, which is no longer going to happen. Okay? And I enjoy worship music, right? And I decided to create my own worship music revolving around what I stand for. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. And it will also help me get into the zone for writing for the Gail Series. Yeah, because in order for me to write well, I usually have to listen to a piece of music that kind of like gets me into the zone because I'm a very intuitive writer. Yeah, so it helps me to listen to some music, and there aren't, a lot of songs don't really cut it for me, or they're not really in my world, they're like somebody else's world, and I'm just really excited that I was able to create music that is my world, and reflects my heart and values. So yeah, it's, so yeah, you can listen to them all, and I've made them all into like video music pieces. but they're not here at YouTube. You have to go to, I have a link to my BitChute and Odysee. You can go to either one of those to listen to them. I am healing well from the injury. However, that was a pretty bad injury that I got on November the 20th. And I just yesterday took the Band-Aid off for everything. I had one Band-Aid on, but I'm going to tell you, the reason I decided to do that is because Brent is doing what they call like monotherapy on this leg, which means I cannot do anything else or it interferes with his therapy. And it seemed like I was getting a new pain in my knee, so I thought maybe it was time for me to remove the Band-Aid. I was thinking maybe it was interfering with his treatment. I mean, the wound is covered over, but the area, there's like scar tissue where the injury was, and the skin is pretty sensitive. So I wanted to leave the Band-Aid on a little bit longer, but I think it's time to remove it. I can show you what it looks like. You can kind of see it right there. Yeah, it actually, let me see if I can get it. It actually looks better than it feels. I think there's a lot of interior damage. Yeah, I think there was a lot of interior damage. I think Brent actually had to rebuild everything from the bone up. I think he's putting in the nerves and everything that got smashed by this horrible Jesuit that shoved me down really, really hard. And he probably chipped some bone too. But it is healing, but it's even now, almost a month and a half after the attack, it still hurts sometimes. But I am making progress. Yeah. I have a first-class doctor for a husband, and I've noticed he appears to be working on my breasts too. Yeah. He has told me that he goes through my body, and if he sees any cells that look like they're in a precancerous mode, he will go in there and fix it. And my mother, back around I think it was 2021, she had cancer all over her body. And I encouraged Brent to take care of her. So she went on Church of Gail and was in their hospital. She was complaining up a storm, but he did fix her. But she did transition, is probably the best thing to say, in October 2022, when she admitted to Buddha that she really messed up with my sister. And that she wished she could get it right, but she was just too old. And at that time, she was 93 years old, so Buddha then opened a portal and just transitioned her to heaven to go be with her her husband, Bill, who went to heaven in March 2014. And I'm happy for her. But, Zach is a very talented poet. He's really good with rhyme and meter. I'm a little bit better with words. And when we put our two talents together, we come up with really good lyrics. The music is totally original, except, and I love it. It's my world. So I've got 2 more songs to go, and then I'll be done. And then after that, I plan on going gung-ho with the Gail Series. In the new year, my Medicare benefits have been cut. There's a new rule with Medicare now. In 2025, I was getting $140 a month from an Aetna Medicare Advantage plan that I could spend on food and over-the-counter products. I got they haven't been covering my dental though. I got a letter from them around October where they warned me that starting in 2026, Medicare had new rules, and the only way now that you can get over-the-counter benefits is you have to have a chronic condition. I looked over the list of eligible chronic conditions. I don't have any of them. I am actually amazingly healthy for my age. And for that reason, I don't qualify for any of the over-the-counter benefits. You might say, I guess they assume everybody at my age is going to have a chronic condition, so they'll qualify. So that means I'm losing, I had $140 a month. That really helped me because my food stamps pretty much got cut off because I'm living in HUD housing, and once they learned of that, they cut off my food stamps. It's like, oh, you're not paying electricity, your rent's dirt cheap, you don't need food stamps. So basically, starting in 2026, I'm going to have to do a lot of the same strategies that I used in Florida. But I can do it. I did it in Florida. Which means shopping at Publix and Whole Foods will be out except for maybe like one item. Like Whole Foods is the only place in town that carries my lacinato kale or my Dino kale, which I love for one of my potato dishes. And I happen to love the Italian Parmesan or Reggiano cheese, which only Publix and Whole Foods carries. It's an expensive cheese, so I'm going to treat myself to something like one expensive ingredient, or maybe a couple of expensive ingredients a month. But I plan right now to use my Florida strategy. The only difference is here in Alabama, I do not have a car. I had a car in Florida. And in Florida, the only store I shopped at was Walmart. And I shopped about once every 5 weeks. And that's how I made it. And I managed to keep all my groceries on food stamps because the rent was so high down there. That was the only way I could afford to live in Florida. But I did it. Yeah. Now here in Alabama, without a car, and because the Walmart is not walking distance from me, unless I'm willing to walk 50 minutes. Yeah, with this knee injury, forget it, Yes, I could take the bus, but I'm finding that I'm going to have to limit my shopping to Kroger, Walmart, and Aldi. But I don't really go to Aldi's that much. And I've found that Aldi's and Walmart are about the same in price. So basically, if I limit it to Kroger and Walmart, I should be good. Yeah. So I've revamped all my recipes, and my new strategy right now is I look for bargains. And I'm going to go, when it's time for me to get Zyrtec, because I'm not going to be getting over-the-counter coverage anymore. Target seems to have the best deal on Zyrtec. I like the gel caps, so yeah. So I'll take the bus to make special trips just to look. Now, I was using the bus to go on adventures and stuff. Now I'm going to do the same thing, except it'll be ventures and looking for deals. There are a lot of Walmarts that are bus accessible in this town, so I can take, as long as I'm shopping at Walmart, I'm good. It doesn't have to be the particular Walmart that's closest to me. So there are 4 or 5 Walmarts in town that I can go visit. And that way I'm still shopping cheap. Though every now and then I'm finding the way to make it, okay, when you're on a tight budget, is to buy store brand items. Yeah, that's how you save money. So since I love to eat Cheerios and Rice Chex, Kroger has a store brand Rice Chex, and if they're out, then I'll just use another store brand like Cheerios or whatever. If Kroger's out of their store brand Cheerios, then I'll go to Walmart and get it there. And this is how I'm going to save money. Fruit is where I've been spending a ton of money. Okay. Right now I'm going back to what I did in Florida. I'm eating frozen strawberries, but then I'm putting other fruits in there, like kiwi, Granny Smith apples. I love my fruit salad. Canned pineapple is another way to save money. So I'm throwing a little bit of that in there, and I don't feel like I'm suffering. It's still delicious. Yeah, it's good. Besides, when I got the strawberries fresh, I usually ended up throwing out 3 or 4 of them because they had mold on them. At least I don't have that problem anymore. Yeah. And I've gotten back into doing something that I did in Florida, which is eating a lot of eggs, because eggs are a cheap form of protein. And but I've taken a liking to egg salad sandwiches, and then I throw in some chopped spinach. Those recipes are at my cooking channel. And there's a Greek egg potato salad dish that I like. So I'm getting back more into eggs. It's going to force me to spend more time in cooking, but hey, yeah. So yeah, I'm back to the way I was in Florida. There are a lot of dishes that are not super duper expensive, but they're good for you and they're delicious. Like collard greens are cheap around here, okay? There is a southern dish with collard greens that I make that's really good. I probably will be getting back into that too, And but I'm not going to give up my lossy kale, and I love the Mediterranean diet. The good news is some of my favorite dishes are still affordable. Yeah. I love the Mediterranean salads. So I'm going to keep on doing that. And I'm going to give myself permission. So my goal is no more than $17 or $18 a day for everything. That way I can make sure that I'm able to save my $100 a month for the Gail Commandments. Yeah, see, if I don't budget like that, then I'm not going to be able to save, and then I'll be violating the Gail Commandments. So that's what I'm forced to. I had to do that in Florida too. I mean, I was super tight in Florida. I had to pay electric bill down there, and groceries I could only afford through food stamps, but I did it. And of course, I only spent money on food and bills, and yeah, I did it. And I was still able to save $100 a month. Yeah. But it wasn't easy. And then it got to the point where my landlord raised my rent and I had to move out, or I would have been homeless. Yeah. But I was very fortunate that I am now in HUD housing. But even so, the enemy has made my life tighter than it was when I first got here. But I'm kind of an expert at knowing how to get by on a little bit because I've done it for so long. And I'm not, you might say, you could go out and get a job. I am so busy working on my writing, and I kind of have a job. My Patreon is almost like a part-time job, the amount of time it takes for me to do it. So my number one priority right now is to let the world know my story, the story of me and my men, to do the Gail Series and make my weekly YouTube video. Jesus set me up really well here in Alabama. He apparently knew that I'm very good at managing my finances, especially if I do the Gail Commandments. So yeah, I'm kind of like in some ways back to where I was in Florida, where I'm going to have to watch my money right now. But I'm not in dire straits. In other words, if I practice good financial management by, I would say, 95% of my food at Kroger and Walmart and Aldi's, I should be good. Yeah. And then maybe I can, like for Publix, I'm only going to get stuff there that I can't get anywhere else. And like if I have to shop at Publix or Whole Foods or some more expensive place, I'll probably just buy one item, then take the bus, and on the way home, visit another grocery store and get the rest of a cheaper grocery store and get the rest of the stuff. Yeah, I've done that before. Yeah, so, yeah, I can still do stuff like go to the gardens, Yeah, I found out that I had set up my renewal for the botanical gardens automatically, and I didn't know it. It's a good thing I had enough. It's a good thing that I've done such a good job of budgeting this month, because I started about 2 weeks ago with my new budget to make sure I stay within budget so I can save at least $100 a month and do that Gail Commandment. So, yeah. I'm wearing the beautiful jewelry my husband got me. But I am excited about the music that I'm making because it captures my values and my heart. And Zach Knight is a brilliant lyricist, and half the lyrics were perfect, and I didn't have to do anything. Now, what I find interesting about Zach Knight is he looks exactly like Robin Thicke, the singer Robin Thicke. In fact, some of the music videos that Robin Thicke made was actually Zach Knight. The one called Magic, I believe that's Zach Knight. And there was another one, I can't remember the name of it, but he let me know. He said, Gail, that was actually me. So yeah, it seems that Zach has some talent in music. And he's got a knack for writing lyrics, okay? Kind of like his his counterpart who almost looks like him, right? And when I saw that wonderful music track dedicated to the goddess Soul, which I thought, wow, this is some of the best music I've ever heard. And this was created by AI. I said, I got to look into this. And that's when I created some music that I absolutely love. I mean, me working with this AI, they make the music and I tell them the style that I want. And, wow. Yeah. So, it's great. It's my own personal worship music. Like, I've quit listening to Christian music because it's all incorrect right now, except for the part about the cross. I mean, Jesus did die on the cross, but none of the prophecies are going to happen. It's basically like the book of Revelation and Daniel have been canceled. I thought, and then we found out that Jesus has God friends. And I actually wrote a song about them based on what Zach wrote. So it's kind of like I've updated my worship music. And if you want to hear it, just go to my BitChute and my Odysee. I have 2 more songs to go. I'm a real music lover. I actually took a year of music theory at Florida State University in 1978 and 79 as an elective. You have to be an elective to take music theory at Florida State University, especially when I did. You have to be in fact, my music professor was impressed because he knew I wasn't a music major and that I was taking it as an elective. It was a very hard class, let me tell you. At the time that I took it, Florida State University was the number 3 music school in the country. The only 2 schools ahead of it were Juilliard and I think Eastman School of Music. This was in 1978-79. At that time, Florida State was number 3. Like I said, the only schools ahead of them were Juilliard and Eastman, and I took a year of theory as an elective at that time. I will admit, the first quarter I aced it. I don't know how I did. I thought I was going to flunk, okay? After that, I said, this is going to be a pass-fail course. Just get credits on it. But I stuck it out the whole year. You say, you should be a composer. Yeah, but I didn't really take harmony and all the other stuff you need to take to be a composer, okay? And I'm too busy writing. The main reason, I actually did download a composition software, but I gave up on it. I said, I don't have time for this. Writing is hard enough work. So, but I do have, a love for music, and you can see that in the tracks that I have sort of made with the help of AI, right? I'm hearing that my supporters, a lot of them are making love to the music. They're making love to my music, and some of them are exercising at the gym with my music. They're loving it. So, I personally think it would also make good worship music. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if my husband, who's pastor at Church of Gail, might be incorporating it into our worship. Yeah, very possible. It's because, like I said, the Bible's been canceled, and we don't really have any worship music for what I would call the new Christianity. I don't know if maybe you should call it Goddess Gail music, I'm actually, to me it's like Goddess Gail music. So anyways, you guys, I did owe you all a video. I personally am enjoying my personally designed music because it's my new worship music. It reflects my values, what I stand for, and what my goals are. Yeah. You say, what are your goals? To have a true and free love utopia. If you listen to my music, you'll know what my goals are. And I stand on the side of anybody who practices true love, regardless of how they do it. Yeah. And basically, the Gail's 10 Commandments that I wrote reflects my values as a free lover. I have absolute respect for God the Father and understand his position. And I feel that if my true and free love utopia cannot come into being, then I'm willing to just let monogamy be the gold standard. However, I personally think it is possible to practice free love with righteousness. And if you listen to my music, you'll get an idea on how I think it can be done. Anyways, everybody, Happy New Year. Let's all live joyfully and in freedom and righteousness. Yeah, I'm so glad that those doctors are back. I can't tell you how bad I have felt just about every day that they got murdered. And it was my fault because I gave that order. I'm also hoping that we got every single person that was murdered and replaced with an automaton that was unjustly murdered. That would include some members of our nanotechnology research team and some bus drivers. I couldn't believe Brent did that. I'm hoping they're back too. I don't want anybody taken out if they're not a threat to our life. I mean, yes, I don't like it. Yeah, that's why I didn't want people idolizing me. I think they misunderstood me. And well, see, the problem is we're in a war, right? And in a war, unfortunately, you have innocent casualties, but I don't like it. And I don't want people to kill somebody just because they think I told them to do it. I mean, even if I did tell you to do it, if the person is innocent and they don't deserve to die, please let me know so that I can retract the order. Oh, we have enough murder going on in the world. We don't need any more. Oh man, I'll be glad when all this war ends and we have peace and harmony. I've always dreamed about Jesus' millennial reign. Now, Satan mischaracterized me and made it sound like I was in it for the power trip. No. I thought the neatest part about his millennial reign was that it was back to the Garden of Eden, where everybody was healthy, the average life was like 1,000 years old, there were no wars, there was peace. Yeah. What's wrong with wanting that? Yeah. And we had a righteous ruler over the whole planet, which would have been Jesus, but that's been canned. Anyways, hopefully maybe we can have something equivalent to it, huh? Anyways, you guys, Happy New Year, everybody.
In a world of secrets where darkness reigns, there's a warrior